When it comes to nutcrackers, I've never really been sure if I like them or not, but when my friend Serena from Vintage Press Studio designed a pastel nutcracker journal, I decided I like them. In part 2, I'm going to go through my completed journal page by page. If you missed part 1, where I show how I put this journal together, I'll put a link in the description, along with a link to all the other videos in the Build a Holiday Journal Papercraft Socials collaboration that was put together by Whitney of Girl Friday Crafts. I hope we inspire you to create your own holiday journal. I decided that rather than show you an entire video of me putting all of my embellishments and pockets and tags in my journal, that I would just go through it page by page and show you the completed journal and tell you about what I did, because the actual doing everything is a really, really long process because I have to think about what I'm going to do and everything. So I thought for this video, I'm just going to go through and we'll talk about it. This was a sticker, some sticker set I had that I got actually years ago at a scrapbooking weekend retreat thing. This on the binding, this kind of pink cording, was a trim that I got. It was part of a set that I got from, I believe, Michael's. And there's a lot of fabric in there. You can see, whoops, there's a lot of different trims and stuff in there. And I just have it shoved in my bag right now. I also have gotten a gold and silver set. I believe it's from Michael's, but I'll see if I can link it in the description. And there's a lot of trims in there that you can use, and there's different colors and stuff that they have. And that I glued and I just tucked in. On this part right here, I used a little pop dot. If you remember, pop dots are these little things, and you pop them out and you can make things 3D. By putting this on there and sticking it on. So there's a little pop dot under, and I don't know if you can tell very well in here, but there's a little pop dot under the gift. The Velcro dots we use for the closure come from Amazon also. Now the thing I will tell you about this particular journal is the folio journals that work like this, kind of like the old Trapper Keeper. These ones aren't as thick as some of the other types of journals you can get from Papercraft Socials and cards. The ones that are put together by, say, these binder rings, those types of journals are a lot easier to put the thicker embellishments on because you have more room. Where this one, if you put too much on it, it's not even going to close. So we can't get too crazy with this particular style of journal. This is just a sticker I had from somewhere, and I liked the color. These are a couple of the little card pieces, the little kind of stamps that come with the set. When you see all these things you see in here, the tags, the pockets, all of this, all of those paper items that are in this journal are part of the actual kit. And then you add whatever else you want to it. When I do the kits that I have on my website, I do put some type of ribbon in there, so you do have ribbon to complete the journal. But if you're a creative, a crafter, you might have ribbons that you like better or that are a little fancier, like a lot of the ones I have in here, and you're going to want to use those. But I do include some type of ribbon in the kit so that you have something to work with. This is one of the pockets. It just has a couple of little cards in here. And you can see I did distress sort of, I guess I'm going to call it distress, the edges of everything in my journal. When I constructed the journal, in the part of the video where I'm actually constructing the journal, I did not do that because I didn't want to take the time to record me inking everything. I like to ink in a lot of my journals just because it adds a little pop. If you want it to look older, it kind of ages it. It also hides any flaws where you may have your cuts aren't quite straight, or there's white showing on the edges of things, and you don't, like here, you don't want the white edge to show. So it's a good way to hide those types of things. This is we're going to put that tag in there. This is one of the trims from that set that we talked about that I talked about. More here, just a little a little, I was working on a gingerbread journal, so I'm saying gingerbread. A little couple nutcrackers here, a few more little stamps. This was some more trim that I used as a pocket. Here's another card, and I put my own paper on the back of that. I don't do it with a lot of the cards because I want you to be able to write on them, and I thought with this you still could if you wanted to, but I just glued this tag to a piece of my own cardstock and then cut it out. Here we have just some beads that I thought were cute. I put in there a few more stars. Those are from that same gold set. If you look, and I don't know how well it shows up in film, but here in spots on the tree and here along the edge of the pocket, I carry DIY paint, and so I took some DIY paint, and it generally is a pretty thick paint, but I wanted it kind of extra, you know, clumpy. So I added a little bit of, I believe I used baking soda for that, to it. And I just kind of put it on here with, I believe I just, you know, used a popsicle stick or something. And put that on there. And then I sprinkled some very fine glitter on top of it to make it a little sparkly. And that's what I did in both of those areas, just to make it a little blingier. I have another tag here, and this was a tag. A lot of the tags in the kit, you will see, you can fold them in half and have a two-sided tag, or you can cut them down the middle and make two tags. Something that I do, I think, oh, I did it with this one. If you just glue those sides and leave one side open, then you have an area that you can put something else in. You can stash something away in there. This particular ribbon on this tag is something I had that was part of a chindi rug, a rag rug. Serena had given me the idea that rag rugs, of course it was this one I bought, and you know, I didn't take it out of my garage or whatever, but I picked a couple of rugs up. I actually got mine at 5 and below, and they were actually 5 and above, but I picked a couple of them that I liked the colors that were in them, and then I just tore apart, I undid the rug and took a few of the colors that I liked, and I washed them and dried them. Now, sometimes in this process, the ink will bleed. Here's like an example of, like, this was next to a darker color, so it got all from the darker color. But sometimes you can get enough of it, see, that you can do something with it. And then, you know, I just cut it and tore it. And then I had, see if I can do it with this one, it might be going the wrong direction, and tore it. And then you have something just a little different. It's another texture, and it's shimmery, so I liked that particular one. So that's an option for a ribbon type item for your tags. This was a roll of gold stars that I had that was a sticker, and I really don't remember where I got that at all. I'm sorry. This was a two-sided tag, and that's just lace. I get a lot of my lace. Here's an example. I get a lot of my lace, like things like this. This actually came from an estate sale or a garage sale or something like that. I don't remember exactly because I have just a little bit of lace. But that's a good place to get it, is if you can find it secondhand like that, because it can be very expensive just to buy lace. But if you can find it like that inexpensively, sometimes I just find like a little bag of it somewhere in a thrift store. So you never know where you're going to find it. And I certainly can't tell you where I found that specific piece. These are the little journaling pages. This is just I don't think I have it right next to me, but I just happen to have a punch that punched out snowflakes. I just thought, oh, what do I have? When I was trying to figure out what I was going to use on this journal, I kind of went through my craft room, and which would be the other name for my craft room, because I have a lot of crap. It's my craft room. I went through and just started grabbing things, and I found that, so I punched a little snowflake out. These are really cute journaling pages. You can write on them. You can put pictures there or there, whatever you want to do with them. On this page, this is actually another piece from the Chindi rug. So there's a lot of different textures with that. That's why I really like using that. This was a brad that I had. I have a little box with drawers. I think you know what I'm talking about. A lot of crafters have them. A box with a lot of drawers that have different things in them, embellishments and things in them. So I pulled out the one that had some Christmas stuff, and I used a brad here. What I did was I put the brad on the pocket before I attached the pocket to my journal, and that way there's not a brad coming through the other side. It's kind of hidden. And that is something I will say as I say, before I put it in the journal, is when I make these journals, when I do my journals, I plan out my pages ahead of time because there's so much with this kit that you get. Let me just show you some of the pages here. But there are pages and pages of designs. See, these are the tags that I talked about that you could fold or you could cut them in half. But there are pockets, ephemera, so many options with this particular journal. I can't believe how many pockets and things and little tidbits there are for this journal for such a smaller scale journal. But there's just a lot for this journal. So you use as much of it as you want to or don't want to. But what I do is I plan ahead of time what I'm going to do. Let me just tear out something here so I can show you. Like if I was designing this page, I would take this pocket and I would take, say I was going to glue this on here. What I would do is take a paper clip or something and just paper clip it to this particular page like that as I'm planning out my journal. And that way I can move things around and change and shuffle if something isn't working. Say you wanted a pocket that went this direction and you don't have any left because you've already glued them all on, then what are you going to do? But if you just paper clip the different things to the pages as you go, then when you get to that page, then you know what goes on that page. So I don't glue anything down till I have everything paper clipped exactly where I want it throughout the journal so I know what I'm doing. Same with the pockets. I try not to, if I can, glue any of the pockets actually on the page until I have the embellishments on them. These are just some little green rhinestones that I had. I just put along there for a pop of color. I like this pink fluffy feather and I wanted texture, so I popped that in there. This is just another tag. It was a two-sided tag, you can see. Another tag here, two-sided tag. Here you can, I don't know how well it shows up in here, but in the same sticker set I had with all the gold, there were these little gold, you can kind of see them there. I put those on, one on each page like that, and kind of stack them. This was just a regular little brad, like you see, but I just happened to have a star one, and it was pink, so I put it on top of the tree. This is a little card you can write in that goes, I have it stuck in there. Here's another little card. You can write little things in. This was a strip. It was a set that I had, and I just cut it off and stuck it down there. Just something to add a little bling to the edge of the page, and I took one off and popped it there too. Next page, just more tags. This particular one, I punched out the snowflake with the punch, so when you close it you can see the little white snowflake, but it's actually from the card underneath. I didn't want to take up too much of the space with the snowflake because this is a journaling page, but I just liked the idea of it, so I did that. I love this particular trim. This was one that came from the set of the pink. Now when I glued this one on, I glued it right at this part, right up to the edge, but I let the little soft, fluffy part kind of hang over. Another card here. I said card and it's a tag. With this tag, I put the little brad on there as I was tying it, so it was kind of hidden. This was some gold trim, gold rickrack that I had. It probably came in that set of the gold and silver that I showed you. I glued it down again before I put the pocket on. In case you couldn't guess, this was more of the chindi rug. This is just some rickrack that I had here. Some more of the little stamps that are part of the set. For some reason, I went all cray-cray with the gold on this page, and I put gold trim around both of the pockets. This is actually 2 pockets that are stacked. On this last page, I was kind of experimenting. Haven't decided yet if I like it, but I had this roll of whatever, I don't even know, and I honestly don't know where I got it, but it had these globby white paint looking things on it. It's kind of like flocking in a way, and I decided to put that on there just to see if I liked it. I like the globby white things. I'm not sure I like the fact that you can see the background that they're stuck on. So, but it was an experiment. My feelings aren't hurt. This is some glitter glue, and I wasn't sure if it was even going to dry. It's actually some older glitter glue that I had from I don't even know when. It didn't thrill me on here, but that's okay. Like I said, this was all an experiment to try different things. That's what you do. The cards in here, I didn't do anything with these cards. I just cut them and put them in there. Well, I distressed the edges. Those are great for writing things on, notes, anything like that. I did put Velcro on this pocket. You don't have to. It's a smaller one than I used on the cover. You don't have to. Over time, it could start to wear the paper if you opened and closed it a lot, but I don't think you're going to be opening and closing this, every day. But it's up to you. You can put it on there, not put it on there. You can put some type of little embellishment, like say that star here on it, or a brad or anything, or you can leave it like it is, whatever you want to do. This pocket I did glue down completely because of what I have it on here. Actually, I believe I taped it with my 2-sided tape because I feel it's a little sturdier with the tape. So I glued it down with the 2-sided tape. And I think that's pretty much it. It's a lot of color. I went with the pink and gold and white kind of theme for this. And again, there are several videos in this collaboration that was brought to you by Whitney of Girl Friday Crafts. So click the link in the description and watch all the other videos in this series, all the creators doing different holiday winter designs from Paper Craft Socials. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.